In the scorching heat of Medina, the messenger of Allah was speaking. That day, his gaze cut straight through the horizon like he could already see the walls of Constantinople with his own eyes. Constantinople will absolutely be conquered. What an incredible commander its conqueror will be, and what an incredible army will march with him. Among those listening stood a 40-year-old companion, Khalid ibn Zayd, known as Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. He locked that prophecy deep inside his heart and never let it go. Years later, at 80 years old, he stood before the very walls of Constantinople, not with a walking cane, but gripping a sword. His one and only goal, to be worthy of the prophet's promise, but an arrow shot from those stubborn Byzantine walls found its mark. The noble companion who had once welcomed the prophet into his home in Medina fell to the ground before the city ever did. Even in his final breaths, he dreamed of that sacred victory. He joined the caravan of martyrs at the base of the walls. Centuries rolled by. Now another pair of eyes stared at those same walls. These weren't just a commander's eyes, they belonged to a visionary, a man bold enough to sail ships over dry land, a man holy enough to fulfill a divine prophecy, a man strong enough to slam one era shut and crack open another. Allahu Akbar, buckle up. This is the story of Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror. On a cool night in Manisa, the life of 19-year-old Prince Mehmed was about to flip upside down. A messenger showed up, shaking, exhausted, and dropped the heavy news. Sultan Murad Khan is gone. For a split second, the whole world stopped. The weight of an entire empire crashed down onto his shoulders. It was time to chase the dream he'd been carrying for years, making Constantinople the beating heart of Islam. In the second year of his reign, the air inside the Divan chamber was thick with tension. Grand Vizier Chandarli Halil Pasha looked the young Sultan dead in the eyes, worry carved all over his face. My Sultan, those walls have swallowed the greatest armies for 1,000 years. We don't have the strength to break through them. We need to pull back. But 21-year-old Mehmed didn't raise his voice. He didn't say a word. His gaze was a razor-sharp blade of pure determination. His answer wouldn't come in words. It would come in fire and iron. He walked into Urban's workshop, a place that felt like the mouth of hell itself. I can melt the bronze, my Sultan, but the math needed to make a cannon this massive actually hit its target. No craftsman alive knows how to do that. But Mehmed wasn't just a sultan, he was a genius. He shoved the Latin manuscripts aside, picked up the pen himself and said, "You handle the bronze, Urban, I've already worked out the trajectory." And just like that, the Shahi was born. The largest cannon the world had ever seen. It took 60 oxen and hundreds of soldiers months just to haul it to the walls. When it fired, the boom shook the heavens and turned the sky dark. Fire! In the name of Allah! April 20th. Disaster was rolling in from the sea. Genoese galleons, floating fortresses, smashed straight through the Ottoman blockade. The Sultan drove his horse into the water, waves crashing against his chest, screaming in fury, "Either you take those ships or I take your head." But that day, the sea belonged to Byzantium. Hope felt like it had shattered against the rocks. While whispers of defeat spread through the camp, the Sultan received a letter from his mentor, Aksham Sadin. "This is not the time for mercy, my son. Victory is close. Either Constantinople takes me, or I take Constantinople." If the sea was blocked, he'd use the land. On the night of April 21st, a miracle kicked off. Thousands of soldiers dragged 67 warships over the hills of Galata on greased logs. We'll turn these mountains into our ocean. Byzantium woke up to the impossible. Ottoman warships were sitting right inside the Golden Horn. My lions, today we open a brand new era. In front of you lies either the Gardens of Paradise, Sri Shawai, or a world empire. Strike for the sake of Allah. Through the smoke, Ulubatli Hassan appeared, climbing the highest tower. His body was riddled with arrows, but he planted the Ottoman flag before he fell, for the word of Allah. The city has fallen, my Sultan. Constantinople is now the land of Islam. As he walked into Hagia Sophia, he turned to the terrified people around him and said, "Don't be afraid. Your lives, your property, your dignity, all of it is under my protection. Justice will reign here." He tracked down the long-lost grave of Abu Ayyub al-Ansari and paid a debt that had been owed for centuries. He built a court where even he, the great Sultan, stood equal before the law alongside a humble architect. His eyes then turned toward Rome, the so-called Red Apple. But in 1481, at just 49 years old, a great era came to an end. Some say illness, some say poison, but his spirit that never left. Every call to prayer echoing through Hagia Sophia today is his legacy. We are the grandchildren of the conqueror. The road is ours. The victory belongs to Allah. Truth has arrived, and falsehood has vanished.